From the moment Lalia had come out of her hiding place and held Helima's hands to run away from their attackers, she had immediately seen a vision of the prince in her eyes. It seemed as though his spirit was living inside her. It is her. It has been her all this while. She is his destiny. I was just in her way. Princess Helima had thought to herself. She saw the spirit protecting Lalia when she was angrily confronting the assassin. The assassin had an arrow directly aimed at her chest, but he couldn't pull it. The spirit was the reason he couldn't pull the arrow, and at that very moment she also seen a vision of Lalia's true face when the lightning struck right around where Lalia confronted the assassin. It was as if the lightning had struck at that particular time to make her see just that. Princess Helima, even though mortally wounded, had clearly seen Lalia's true face, and she looked so beautiful that the princess was left staggered. Lalia was the most striking being she had ever seen. She looked so beautiful that as she ran back to help her, Helima reached out to touch her face, just to be sure she was not hallucinating. She grinned to herself as she remembered her reaction. Lalia finally managed to pull the arrows out, but she noticed that the princess did not even make a sound. She then called out her name several times, nervously stumbling on her words. Helima, please don't close your eyes. I know this is painful, but please don't close your eyes. She frantically rubbed the Ajulu herb on the wound in Helima's stomach. Painful? No, it is not painful. Not painful at all, Lalia. I feel nothing. On hearing this, Lalia got even more worried, because that did not sound good. Getting numb does not bode well in this type of situation. She was scared that Helima might be succumbing to death. In this case, she could already tell that the princess was letting go. No! You must feel the pain. Please feel the pain. You must not let go, Lalia begged her. Her mother had told her that the Ajulu herb could treat any wound as long as the victim had the will to live. She cried out loud again. No! She screamed countless times as she continued to rub the herb with vigor on Helima's wounds. Helima felt pity over her friend's despair. She could see that Lalia was once again desperate to save her life, and this warmed her heart. She raised one of her hands to Lalia's fascinating face, saying so very calmly, "It was you all along. This fate was yours all along. I am sorry, but it seems I was right all along. My vision did come to pass after all. We are both going to be in trouble. Mine won't be for long, but you, however, you will suffer a great deal for this, and I am sorry I won't be around to help you, dear friend." The princess couldn't stop rubbing her face. Please don't give up, Helima. You will see that everything will be fine." Lalia held her hand, the one that Helima had on her face. She cried as the princess caressed her face and whispered, "Let's be friends in my next life, my dear Lalia." No, Helima, please don't leave me." Lalia continued to cry and plead with her not to let go, but it wasn't long before Helima's hand fell listlessly off her face. Lalia remained sitting, her friend on her laps, crying her heart out. The sun was almost out, but the rains continued. As soon as she transcended into the realm of the ancestors, Princess Helima's spirit set out to go see her mother, whom she found thanking the gods for saving her daughter and seeing her through the ritual dance. She was there to keep her promise. "Mother! Mother!" she called her from outside her hut. The priestess excitedly ran out to meet her. "You made it, my dear daughter, like I knew you would. The priestess suddenly went quiet. She stopped dead in her tracks at the sight of her daughter's spirit standing before her. "Helima, why do you speak to me from the land of our forefathers?" The priestess walked up to her, raising her hand to touch her, even though knowing she couldn't, refusing to believe that her dear daughter is dead. "You knew, mother, didn't you? This was why you wanted me to take Lalia with me." Princess Halima attacked her mother, turning her face away from her when she tried to touch her. She was a little disappointed at her for attempting to put her friend in harm's way just to save her. "I am your mother. I had to find a way. any way to save you and keep you alive, even if it meant sacrificing your friend in your place. The priestess confessed, sobbing. The goddess had shown me countless visions of this day, but I could not accept it. I tried everything I could to change my dreams, but to no avail. However, I still remain hopeful that somehow your destiny will be altered. It is her destiny, and my passing was a necessity, mother. You knew that, the princess explained, trying to reason with her mother. The priestess nodded as she listened to her daughter, sad over the thought of what could have been. You would have made a great queen, the greatest Tongu ever had. By the gods, she must pay. She must pay for killing you. The priestess cried out, thinking that Lalia is responsible for her death. Oh, mother, she's not responsible for my death. It is your dear friend, Queen Tati, who ordered assassins to kill us, Princess Halima retorted. She knew because she had seen a vision of Queen Tati wickedly stealing the arrows from Lalia's quarters when she held the first arrow that struck her. Oh, but of course, it could only be her. Because she was my friend, I couldn't. No, I refused to see her for who she truly is. The priestess nodded thoughtfully, agreeing with her daughter. She now hated herself for trusting the queen as much as she did. She forbade me from being friends with Lalia, and because I did not pay heed, The princess stopped mid-sentence, watching her mother angrily dash into her hut, with her eyes filled with so much vengeance, like she had never seen before. Mother, you can't. You mustn't. Princess Halima pleaded with her mother to calm down, but the priestess was determined to have her revenge on the queen and did not seem to care what consequences her intended actions would bring upon her. No, Halima, I will not let your death go unavenged. The priestess watched as her daughter's spirit disappeared into thin air. She bid her daughter farewell and stormed away in the direction of the palace. It was already morning now, and even though the rains were slowly winding down, it was still drizzling. People have now begun to awaken and come out of their compounds to welcome the princess from the shrine. The people stood for a long while waiting for the arrival of Princess Halima, but there was no sign of her. Eager and worried, some of the natives of Tongu decided to go out in search of her. They went to look for her in Goddess Halima's shrine. They had passed all the houses and were almost in the bushes when they saw Lalia sitting on the ground, sobbing over the princess's lifeless body. The gods have mercy. What have you done? Exclaimed the first person to see them, a woman who was part of the search party. She had started screaming and wailing so loud that even Lalia shuddered despite her own grief. Lalia looked up and around, then realized that the sun had long risen. It was already morning. Lalia immediately pointed towards the direction of the tree against which she had tied their surviving attacker and said, "It is his doing." The men quickly rushed to surround the man. They quickly untied him and another group picked up the princess's body. Then they all headed for the palace. On their way, people mourned at the princess's death and cried as they saw her being carried. Lalia was also forcefully held by two strong guards. Because they were suspicious of her, they insisted that she explain how and why she was there when the princess was killed. Hearing the sounds crying from far away, Queen Tati knew that her plan has been executed just as she expected, and this pleased her. She was preparing herself to meet the king to inform him of the commotion when she had an unexpected visitor.